ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on another live video this week. If we haven't met yet, my name is Angela Olmos. I'm a full-time realtor in the Northeast Florida area. I'm with Momentum Realty, and I have Delaney Bravo, who's my co-host here. She's a mortgage expert with Fiber Mortgage. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy Friday to everyone out there. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about the weekend and all that there is to be had now that the weather's a little cooler. It seems like we have more outdoorsy stuff to do.
Yes. Pumpkin patches, the whole thing. I know I went to one, you went to one. So super festive. We're getting into that holiday season.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it. And I was just thinking about this the other day. If anyone's trying to get into a brand new home before the holidays, this would be the time to do something about it. And it just kind of closely ties into the topic that I want to talk about today. And that is what to look for when you're shopping for a home. So just to backtrack just a little bit, if you guys haven't listened to our show, we talk about things that have to do with buying, selling, or investing in real estate. So with that topic of buying, what I wanted to chat about today was what some of the things that you really should focus on when you are out shopping for a home. I sometimes see that there's a little bit of a distraction, and I just want to kind of, point you guys in the direction that's going to give you the most value and where you're going to be able to get the most benefit when you're out trying to pick the right house to buy. So, for example, we all know that location is really important, but it's really important for you to choose the location not only within the city, like we might know we want to be in the St. Johns County area or the Ponte Vedra area or the South Side area, but beyond the location in the city. You would also want to think about the location within the community where your house is located. How close is it to the amenity center? If that's something that you really do see yourself using very often, is it a short bike ride to the amenity center? Is there a walk to the amenity center? Or do you really have to drive to get there? So just think about those things if they are important to you. Where is it the placement of the house within the community? Because that's permanent. That's not something that you'll be able to upgrade or change down the road. Also, the same thing with the backyard. Typically, if you buy a house with a small backyard, you're going to have a house with a small backyard. That's not something that you could upgrade later on. So you want to definitely focus on those things. And if they are truly important to you, then, just know that up front and not waste any time and just go to the ones that are, they're going to match what's truly important to you. And another thing that I see that most people don't always think about is their room placement within a home. And this is why it kind of becomes a little bit of an important thing to think about is if you have an air conditioning unit that might be placed right outside your master bedroom window. Have you ever seen that, Delaney?
Yes. Like they'll have, or if the home has a pool already, like the pool pump that was the previous owners put in would be like right outside the master. And, that makes noise and AC, like generators, like things like that. You want to look at that as well as like, what is the layout of if you were to live in this house and have a future family? Like in our first home, we had our daughter and her room was upstairs and our master was downstairs. And looking back, I wish I would have had at least 2 bedrooms on one floor. So just thinking about your future life as well.
That's absolutely key. Yes. And those are some of the things that you have to think about, as you're picking the right home, because that is pretty permanent. That master bedroom being on the first level will continue to be on the first level for as many years as you live in it. But really do think about those things that cannot be changed down the road as being permanent and things that you would be, having to live with. So if that's something that you can live with, great. You can move forward with buying the house. Now, things that are permanent versus temporary, and this is where the difference is. Certain things you could change, certain things you could upgrade, certain others are what they are. When it comes to opening up the floor plan, that's something that you could change down the road, but you couldn't make the house a 2-story house if it's a 1-story. So just focus on things that are going to be permanent, and if it's something that's temporary, could you add that on? Is that something that you could actually do? And then see beyond like paint colors. Occasionally I'm out maybe showing a home to some buyers and they might be turned off by a certain paint color that the seller would have selected for their home. Well, that's the easiest thing to change. It really, really is. So don't be completely put off by it, because if the house is in the right location and it's in your price range and it fits there, all of the categories that are truly important to you, paint should not be something that should keep you from getting it. Another thing that should not be a distraction is the decorations, which technically aren't always included. And I see this often in places like model homes. You'll obviously fall in love with the house because it's beautifully decorated, it's strategically staged to attract the right type of buyer for that demographics. But also, you also want to make sure that that those are not included. So you want to have that realistic expectation as to, okay, if I want my home to look like this, be real clear on what's included and what's considered an upgrade. So those are things that aren't always obvious, but it's always good to ask. Is this included? It is not. Obviously, decorations typically are not always included, never included, unless you're buying everything like with the house. But typically they're not. So just be able to see beyond that. And what can you do to put your personal stamp on it? So just because it doesn't have your personal stamp right when you buy it, it doesn't mean that you can't have your personal stamp. Once you close on it, you could paint the colors of the bedrooms just the way you want them, or extend the kitchen countertops, or add more storage, whatever you would want to do. But you can do that later. It doesn't always have to be done immediately as you're out shopping looking for the home. Do you have something to add with that, Delaney?
Yes, one thing I was going to mention is, let's say that you find your perfect home, like on the bones, like it has a nice backyard. It's located kind of in the area you want. It's in the back side of the community. It's like has a nice backyard, but it's just outdated. You want to change the cabinets. You want to change the countertops. You want to do a bathroom renovation. You want to paint. You want new floors put in. All of those renovations can be added to your loan. So you would be buying just the price of the house, obviously, plus we'd get all of the paperwork showing overall, I want to do $30,000 in renovations. So we can work that into your loan. So just because when you walk into a home, it doesn't have everything updated the way you want it, doesn't mean that also can't be worked into the monthly payment. And for every $1,000 that you add in renovations, you're only looking at about $6 to $8 per month. So if you're doing $30,000 in renovations, you're really only looking at $160 to $240 more per month. So it's not something that is outrageous to get that bones of that house where you want it.
Yeah, and that could make a difference between passing up on a great home where you could live in it, create memories to last a lifetime, create a great investment on, just simply because you didn't know that there was an option that could be had where you could have the funds to renovate the house included with the mortgage. So it's really important that you partner yourself up with someone that's knowledgeable, that knows all the ins and outs, and can really work with your situation. And the best way to do that is just to communicate, with us, to let us know, what are the things that are truly important to you and what are the ones that are negotiable. But yeah, I thought that was important to realize, if that's something that you could do now or if you could do later. And then lastly, just focus on the most important considerations to help you make the best decision. And always contact us for a free buyer's consultation. That's something that's kind of like the beginning of the whole process. We sit down, we find out truly what's important to you about location, about pricing, what's important to you about lifestyle. And then based on all of that, we'll be able to recommend the best solutions for you. But it really does start with a free buyer's consultation. And for that, it's super simple. You just go ahead and connect with us. We can do this either via Zoom, or we could meet for coffee or at the office, wherever, and just have a conversation about what's important to you and help you get into the road to homeownership. That's what I had for today.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And there's, just being realistic too. And I know this is something you work with. Like, we all have our wants and we all have our non-negotiable needs. And just having that, heart to heart with yourself. What is something that maybe in my price point, I'm not going to get, every single want, but it's also looking at it as an investment. So, what are your non-negotiables? What are things that maybe it's not perfect, but it has all of the things that you can start off building your real estate portfolio. So sometimes looking at it as a long-term wealth as well. And maybe it's just your starter house and it's not going to be your forever home. That's okay. It's a starting point for you to build wealth. And then you can take that and it feeds into what I'm going to talk about today. So always think about it as a true investment.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. It is a starter home. If this is your primary residence, just buying for the first time, it's only the first home that you're buying. Very likely you could buy others with more upgrades, as you build equity within. But the most important thing is just to get in. So feel free to reach us, so that we can help you get started.
Absolutely.
All righty. So, and you've got some cool stuff here happening.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about really quickly, keep this one nice and short, Unfair Advantage Program. So this is a program for investors, and how this feeds into what I was just talking about is, let's say you buy your first home and you're living in it and you're ready to upsize. Maybe you are ready to start a family. Maybe you need more space. Maybe you're moving for work. Whatever that reasoning is, you can then make that old house that you were living in an investment property. So you keep your mortgage on it and you can have somebody else paying your mortgage, but also keep that as a piggy bank because it will continue to grow in value. But you'll treat that amount between your mortgage and what the value is as almost like a savings account. You have that much equity in the property. So let's say you do that and you move into your new house. So now you're turning that to an investment property and you're having somebody else pay the mortgage. That is a great option. Another option is, let's say you don't want to move, or let's say you're already in your dream house and you want to buy an investment property. This is a great option. And this is a non-conventional loan. So this is investor specific, and it does allow for first-time investors. So you don't have to be a seasoned investor to do this, but basically they don't care about your income. They don't care about anything related to your income. So investors, a lot of times, maybe they own 10 houses and they're writing a bunch of stuff off on their tax returns and it gets very complicated. This program, they don't care about that. What they care about is your new mortgage payment on this investment property going to cover what the estimated rent is on this investment property? So we get an appraisal that says this is what the market rent is for this property. The appraiser looks all around. What are properties that are similar renting for? And then they give that value. So it's called like a 1-to-1. Like if your mortgage payment's going to be $2,500 and there's a calculation, so it's not truly 1-to-1, but let's just say $2,500 and the market rent for this property is $2,700. Well, then you're good. And as an investor, you're probably not going to go for a home where you're not going to be making a positive cash flow, right? Like if you're buying a house where the mortgage payment is $2,600, but the rent is only $2,200, that doesn't necessarily make sense on its own. So this is a great program to kickstart building an investment portfolio. They do look at your assets. You do have to have typically 20% down, and you do have to have what they call reserve funds, meaning you have to have some funds left in the bank. So just thinking about on your side, Angela, have you kind of ran into some investors that like this could help? Like, does this sound like something that any of your previous clients, like it would kind of have been a cool option for them?
Yeah. There's a couple that come to mind, and I'm just wondering, would they be able to do this without having it rented yet? Like, let's say, okay, they wanted to buy something right now, but they already own a home. So you would have to pre-qualify them with both mortgages, right? They would be the debt to income ratios would have to include both mortgages, right?
There is no debt to income calculation because they don't care about your income. So it's literally assets, reserve leftover funds. How much does the rent equal or exceed the mortgage payment? So they literally don't even look at a pay stub, look at a W-2. They do look at your credit score, but they don't look at the debts that are on it. So you are literally good if you have enough money, leftover funds, and your rent covers your payment.
That's amazing, Delaney. I don't think I've heard of something like this before. That's amazing.
Yes. And it's really good. Just as a side note, if you are somebody who, like, if you are looking at building a portfolio, two things I want to say quickly. The first is that let's say you go to a neighborhood where they're building new construction and there's literally nothing there. It is literally a trailer where the salesperson sits to market that neighborhood. Have you been one of those people, Angela?
Yes, I have been earlier on in my career. Yes.
Yes, I know you were new construction starting out. So many times that's going to be your best time to get into that neighborhood because nothing's there. When there's a beautiful entrance and there's an amenity center and all of that, those houses are going to sell a lot faster than when it's just a trailer, because you have to really imagine what the community is going to look like, right? So I had a client go in and buy 3 properties right next to each other, made them all investments, and did this program on all 3, closed on all 3 of them in one day.
Nice.
And he struck gold. And this was about a year ago, because now the same floor plan in that neighborhood is selling for $80,000 more.
And he's doing that 3 times.
3 times. He locked in his mortgage payment and his value on that. So now he has somebody paying all of his mortgages and making money on all of them. And he has each of those savings account and each of the values on that home. Like, this dude is sitting on retirement right now. So
that's incredible. That's so smart.
Yes. And I thought, the new construction route was pretty cool. So really cool program. And if you are interested, just reach out for more info. Would love to help you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I got 2 events today. So if it loads, let's see if our chat friend wants to hang out. There we go. So there is Gabriel Iglesias, which is a comedian. He's more family friendly than most. He's coming to the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena tomorrow, Friday night. There's still tickets available. He's really funny and just something fun to do. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, he is like Latino too. So and has a lot of jokes about, and I think it's awesome, Hispanic Heritage Month. Like, there's a lot of jokes about kind of that culture. And my husband is Hispanic, so it just makes me laugh a lot of times. So really funny, really fun, a comedian there. And then the other one,
appreciate some comic relief.
Yes. Sometimes, Friday night after a hard week of work, you just want to sit back and kind of, yes. And then on Saturday, there is an air show going on with the Blue Angels. I love that. And it's it is the Blue Angels. I was going to say, did I mess that up? But it's a free event. I know. It's free event, super fun, military type of stuff here. It's right in more like kind of Jack's Beach area. So it's going to be a super fun time. Have you ever been to like a flyover with the Blue Angels?
I have. It's been several years, but yeah, it was really impressive how they come so close to one another. You literally see the planes like flying so close and you're like, whoa, they definitely know what they're doing.
I can't even drive that well.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell they're real pros at this. But yeah, it's a beautiful show. I think I went to the Navy station a while ago when they had theirs there, but now they do it at the beach. So it's really cool. I think that'll be a good time, especially with the weather being so nice. All right, girl. Well, I think that's what we had for today, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all we got.
All right. So until next time, remember to be kind to one another, guys. And if there's any requests for any topics that you'd like us to chat about, please put them in the comments. Thank you so much. Please share this video, and we will see you next week and in our next video. Take care. Bye-bye.